My friends, have you noticed how quietly the world is changing? One by one, the world's biggest CEOs are moving factories, moving offices, moving opportunities, not to the US, but to India. For decades, when we thought about global supply chains, there was only one country at the center of the story: America. The United States was where innovation was born, where the factories were strong, and where companies trusted their future. But today, the story is shifting. Slowly at first, and then suddenly, CEOs are making a different choice. They are looking at India. And you have to ask yourself, why? Let me tell you something I've learned in business. Nothing moves for no reason. CEOs are not poets. They don't move factories because it feels beautiful. They move because survival is at stake. They move because costs are rising, margins are shrinking, and they need to breathe again. For many years, America was the land of growth. The supply chain was strong, the rules were clear, and the consumers were wealthy. But then came pressure. Wages climbed, regulations multiplied, production slowed, and soon the same CEOs who built empires there began whispering, maybe we should look elsewhere. When elsewhere today means India. Why India? Because something extraordinary is happening there. If you walk the streets of Bangalore or Hyderabad, you don't just see traffic and noise. You see the future being written in real time. Young engineers coding late into the night, startups challenging global giants, new payment systems like UPI making money move faster than anywhere else in the world. There is a hunger in India, a hunger to build, to prove, to rise. That hunger is what CEOs notice. I remember a conversation with a young entrepreneur from Mumbai. He said, we don't want sympathy. We don't want the world to feel sorry for us. We want the world to compete with us. That is the new India. It doesn't wait for opportunity to arrive. It creates opportunity. CEOs understand this. They see that in India, a dollar stretches further, a project moves faster, and a team works harder. And in business, speed is life. Now let's not romanticize too much. India has its challenges. Infrastructure is not always smooth. Bureaucracy can be frustrating, and the market is chaotic. But here's the key. CEOs are not looking for perfection. They are looking for energy. They are looking for momentum. Currently, India has momentum that America no longer offers on the same scale. Think about it. The United States has a population of 330 million. India has over 1.4 billion. Half of them are under the age of 30. What does that mean? It means a workforce that is young, ambitious, and ready to work for the next 50 years. That is gold for any company thinking long term. When I speak with business leaders, I always tell them the biggest mistake is to ignore where the energy of the world is moving. Don't look only at headlines. Don't look only at GDP numbers. Look at the streets. Look at the classrooms. Look at the young people. If you do that, you will see why India is becoming irresistible. In America, people debate whether young graduates should work in offices or at home. In India, young people are asking, how do we build the next unicorn? That mindset changes everything. There is also another reason why CEOs are restless. The global economy has become fragile. Wars, politics, inflation, pandemics, these forces are shaking the foundation of supply chains everywhere. And when the foundation shakes, leaders must find ground that is still firm. India, despite its chaos, offers that firm ground because it is willing to open its doors. The government wants investment. The policies are shifting to welcome businesses. CEOs feel not only the cost advantage, but also the political will to make it work. Now imagine yourself as a CEO sitting in New York, looking at your numbers. Costs are rising. Profits are shrinking. You see your competitors already setting up in India. What would you do? Would you wait and risk falling behind, or would you move now and capture the new ground? That's the decision thousands of CEOs are facing right now. And that's why the quiet migration has already begun. Let me share a story. A mid-sized American electronics company struggled for years to keep up with cheaper Asian competitors. They had factories in Ohio, but every year their costs went up and their margins went down. Finally, the CEO made the tough call, move half of production to India. Within 2 years, not only were their costs lower, but they discovered something they didn't expect. Their new Indian team wasn't just cheaper. It was more creative. They started suggesting design improvements, new ways of packaging, and new solutions. The CEO told me, "I thought I was outsourcing. Instead, I was upgrading." That is the power of India's energy. This shift is not just about saving money. It is about unlocking new ways of thinking. And that is why this moment is so powerful. When CEOs move to India, they are not just chasing costs. They are chasing speed, talent, and fresh imagination. They are chasing the future. But let's pause here. What does this mean for ordinary people like you and me? Because this is not just a story about CEOs flying in private jets. This is about jobs. This is about education. This is about opportunity. When factories move, they bring with them thousands of jobs. When offices open, they bring with them training, skills, and exposure. And when industries shift, they change the destiny of millions of families. For years, people believed that the American dream was the only dream. But now, the Indian dream is becoming real. For a young graduate in Delhi, the dream of working for a global company without leaving home is no longer impossible. For a small supplier in Pune, the dream of selling parts to a Fortune 500 company is within reach. This is why the story matters. It is not just about corporations. It is about lives being rewritten. I want you to reflect on this. In every century, there is a new center of gravity. In the 20th century, it was America. In the 21st century, we are watching it shift. Some people will fight it. Some will deny it. But the smart ones will see it early and adapt. That is how success works. You don't wait for the world to change completely. You read the signs and move before everyone else. So, when you hear that CEOs are moving supply chains from the US to India, don't think of it as a headline. Think of it as a signal that the world's energy is shifting. A signal that if you want to be part of the future, you must look where the current is flowing, not where it used to flow. And right now, the current is flowing strongly toward India. This is not about disrespecting America. America will always be important. It has world-class universities, amazing companies, and a strong culture of innovation. But the world is too big for only one star. New stars must rise. And India is rising now. The question is, will you watch it rise, or will you find a way to rise with it? When we try to understand why this shift is happening, we must look deeper than just headlines about CEOs or factories. Supply chains are not only about goods moving from one country to another, they are about trust, speed, and possibility. If a company does not trust that its products will be made on time, if they cannot move money quickly, if they cannot find people willing to work with passion, then the entire chain breaks. And once the chain breaks, customers disappear, investors panic, and the business starts collapsing. That is why leaders today are asking themselves a very simple but powerful question: where can I build with the most trust and the least friction? For decades, the answer was America. Then it became China. And now many are pointing to India. Let me explain why. The first reason is the workforce. Numbers matter, but what matters even more is attitude. In India, you have more than 600 million people under the age of 30. That is not just a statistic. That is an ocean of human energy. Imagine a room filled with millions of young people, all hungry, all dreaming, all desperate to prove themselves. That kind of hunger is unstoppable. I often say talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. What makes India special today is that talent is meeting opportunity. Companies are hiring, training, and unleashing this generation on the global stage. And when you combine raw hunger with real opportunity, the results are explosive. The second reason is digital infrastructure. For many years, India struggled with bureaucracy. Paperwork, stamps, long lines. That was the image. But suddenly, in the past decade, the government made one bold decision: digitize everything. Identification, payments, government services, all moved online. Today, India's UPI payment system is not just efficient, it is a revolution. A farmer in a small village can sell produce in the morning and receive digital payment instantly on his phone. A startup founder can receive investments and pay suppliers within minutes. This is not normal. This is the future. And CEOs see it clearly. They see that if money moves faster, business moves faster. Compare that to many advanced countries where banking systems are still slow, transfers take days, and hidden fees cut margins. India leapfrogged all of that. The third reason is cost and speed. Let's be honest, costs in America are high. Hiring is expensive, healthcare is expensive, and building is expensive. Sometimes it feels like everything comes with 10 layers of insurance, paperwork, and legal fees. In India, costs are a fraction. But here is the surprising part. Lower costs do not mean lower ambition. Instead, companies are discovering that lower costs allow them to take more risks, experiment more, and innovate faster. Think about it. If you can build a prototype in India for 1/10 the cost, you can build 10 prototypes instead of one. That multiplies innovation. CEOs want that. Another reason is flexibility. In the US, many companies are stuck in slow systems. Permits, unions, negotiations, everything takes time. But in India, even though there is bureaucracy, there is also flexibility. People are willing to adjust, adapt, and compromise to make things work. When you are building a global supply chain, flexibility is as important as efficiency. Because no matter how much you plan, the world is unpredictable. And when the world changes suddenly, as it did during the pandemic, you need partners who can adjust fast. India has shown that it can adapt. Now let's zoom out to the bigger picture. Why does this matter for the world? Supply chains are the skeleton of the global economy. If you move the skeleton, the body must shift too. When companies move to India, it's not just about factories. It's about logistics companies, banks, schools, real estate, and technology providers, an entire ecosystem that begins to grow around it. Jobs multiply, services expand, and the flow of money changes direction. This has consequences everywhere. For America, it means competition. Jobs that could have been created in Ohio or Michigan are now being created in Pune or Chennai. For Europe, it means rethinking how to partner with India instead of only relying on old markets. For Africa, it means opportunity too, because India's rise may create new South-to-South trade. And for Asia as a whole, it means balance, because no single country can dominate forever. But let me make this personal again, because I know some of you might be thinking, this is all about big companies and governments. What does it mean for me? And the answer is, it means everything. Because when global shifts happen, they always start with CEOs and factories, but they end with individuals. If you are a student, it means the skills you choose today will determine whether you are part of the future or left behind. If you are an employee, it means you must ask yourself whether your job is safe in one country or whether it will move elsewhere. And if you are an entrepreneur, it means you must ask, where is the next wave of demand and how can I catch it? I want to share with you a story. A young man I met in Hyderabad was working in a small outsourcing firm. 10 years ago, he earned just enough to pay for food and rent. Today, because his company became a supplier for a major American retailer that shifted operations to India, his salary has tripled, his children are in private school, and he is building his first home. He told me, I never thought the decisions of people in boardrooms thousands of miles away would affect my life. But they did. And they changed everything. That is how global supply chains touch individual lives. And this is why I say, don't ignore what looks like big company news. When Apple opens a factory in India, it is not just about Apple. It is about thousands of small suppliers around it. When a pharmaceutical giant moves part of its production to India, It is not just about medicine. It is about new labs, new training, and new opportunities for scientists. The ripples are everywhere, of course. Let's also acknowledge the challenges. Moving supply chains is not easy. India still has infrastructure gaps, ports that need upgrading, highways that need expansion, and power grids that need reliability. There are also cultural differences, management styles, and political risks. CEOs know this. But here is the critical point. Even with these challenges, the momentum is so strong that they are still moving. That should tell you something. Because in business, no one moves unless the reward outweighs the risk. And right now, the rewards of India outweigh the risks. So, let me ask you this. If the smartest CEOs in the world with the most data and the best advisors are betting on India, what should you be thinking about your own future? Should you still be waiting for opportunities to come from the old places? Or should you be preparing yourself to connect with the new? The truth is, this shift is not only geographic, it is also psychological. For years, people believed success only came from America. If I want to succeed, I must go to Silicon Valley or Wall Street or Los Angeles. That mindset is changing. Today, success may come from Bangalore, Gurugram, or Pune. This psychological shift is powerful because once the world believes a new place is the future, capital follows, talent follows, and soon the whole world turns its eyes there. That is exactly what is happening with India. The world is asking why India. But soon the world will stop asking why. It will start asking how fast. How fast can we build here? How fast can we scale here? How fast can we integrate India into our supply chains? That is the question CEOs are asking right now. And you, as an individual, should also ask, how fast can I prepare myself to be part of this wave? Because waves don't wait. They come, and if you're ready, you ride them to new heights. If you're not, they crash over you. The choice is always yours. When I look at the world today, I see something very clear. The companies that survive are not the biggest, not the richest, but the ones that move the fastest when change arrives. And change always arrives. It does not knock politely at your door. It does not send an invitation. It arrives like a storm, and if you are not prepared, it sweeps you away. That is why this supply chain shift matters so much. It is not only about India or America. It is about adaptability. It is about the courage to reinvent yourself before you are forced to. Think about the CEOs making these bold moves. They are leaving comfort zones, breaking old habits, and betting their companies' futures on a new direction. That is not easy. Imagine building factories for 40 years in one country, building relationships, building systems, and then one day deciding we must move. That takes vision. That takes courage. But most of all, it takes the willingness to let go of yesterday in order to hold on to tomorrow. And that is the lesson I want you to hear. Because this lesson is not just for billion-dollar CEOs. It is for you. It is for every student, every employee, every entrepreneur. Ask yourself, am I holding on to an old way of thinking, an old system, an old dream that no longer works? Or am I willing to move, to reinvent, to start again where the opportunities are growing? I remember once speaking with a young man who said to me, I don't want to start over. I've already invested too much time. And I told him, the world does not care how much time you have invested in the past. The world only cares how ready you are for the future. That is the same mindset these CEOs have today. They are not stuck in the past. They are chasing the future. And if they can move billion-dollar supply chains across continents, why can't you move your mindset across old limits? Let me give you an example from history. In the 19th century, Britain was the workshop of the world. Everyone believed that nothing could compete with British factories. But then America rose. New energy, new people, new ambition. Factories moved. Trade shifted. By the mid-20th century, America was the center. Then, in the late 20th century, China rose. Again, people said, impossible. And yet, It happened. Today, we are seeing the next chapter being written with India. The lesson is clear. No center of power lasts forever. The world keeps moving, and success belongs to those who move with it. So, what can you learn from this? 3 things. First, always watch the flow of the river. If the current is shifting, do not fight it. Fighting the current wastes energy. Instead, learn how to move with it, and you will find yourself further ahead with less effort. For the world today, the current is flowing toward India. For your life, you must ask, where is my current flow? Where are the opportunities moving? Where is the energy gathering? Second, do not confuse comfort with security. Many companies stayed in America out of comfort. Everything was familiar. But comfort is dangerous because it makes you blind to the risks. The moment they realized costs were too high, it was already almost too late. Do not make the same mistake in your personal life. Just because something feels comfortable does not mean it is secure. Look ahead. Anticipate change before it arrives. That is true security. Third, reinvent yourself continuously. Companies reinvent their supply chains, but you must reinvent your skills, your mindset, your habits. If you studied one subject, learn another. If you worked in one job for 10 years, learn a new skill. If you relied on one way of earning, find a second. Reinvention is not optional anymore. It is survival. Now let me speak to you very directly. Some of you listening today might feel discouraged. You may feel that you live in a place with fewer opportunities, that you don't have connections, that the big changes of the world are too far away to touch your life. But let me remind you, when a supply chain shifts, opportunity shifts too. When factories move, jobs follow. When offices open, careers are created. You may think you are too small to be noticed, but remember, the world's biggest companies survive only because of millions of small people working every day. The shift that is happening is not for someone else. It is for you, too. And here is something even more important. Opportunity does not knock on every door equally, but preparation makes you hear the knock louder. If you prepare, if you learn, if you adapt, you will see doors opening where others see only walls. That is the difference between those who catch the wave and those who get crushed by it. I also want you to reflect on this. Success is no longer about where you are born. It is about where you decide to play. Technology has made the world borderless. A young developer in Jaipur can work for a company in Silicon Valley. A designer in Kolkata can sell to clients in Europe. A small manufacturer in Surat can supply to global brands. The walls are lower than ever. The only wall that remains is the wall in your mind. If you can break that wall, you can play in the global arena. And yes, the shift to India is powerful, but don't think of it as only India's story. Think of it as a symbol that the world is always moving. Today it is India. Tomorrow it may be Africa. The question is not, where is the world moving? The real question is, am I moving with it? That is the mindset of winners. So here is my message to you. Do not wait for change to come and surprise you. Don't wait until your industry collapses, until your skills are outdated, until your opportunities vanish. Start preparing now. Start reinventing now. Start building now, because the people who prepare today will own tomorrow. And remember, if global CEOs can move billion-dollar supply chains across oceans, you can move your own life across fear, across doubt, across excuses. Their courage should inspire your courage. Their reinvention should inspire your reinvention. Their risk-taking should remind you that the biggest risk is to do nothing. One day, you will look back and realize that this was a turning point, a moment when the world quietly shifted, and those who paid attention rode the wave to success, while those who ignored it were left behind. Don't be the one left behind. Be the one who saw the signal, who acted, who prepared, who rose with the new tide. Because the truth is simple, the world belongs to those who are ready, not those who are comfortable. The future belongs to those who build it, not those who wait for it. And the opportunities of tomorrow are already being created today in places you may not expect. Places like India. So let me leave you with this. Don't just watch the world change. Be part of it. Don't just admire the courage of CEOs. Find your own courage. Don't just listen to this story. Write your own. The supply chains are moving. The world is moving. And so must you. The next chapter is being written right now. Make sure your name is in it. And before we close, I want to thank you. Thank you for giving your time, your attention, and your heart to listen to these thoughts. Time is the most valuable currency we all have. And when you share it with me, I don't take it lightly. If today's message gave you even one new idea, one spark, one reason to look at the world differently, then I consider this moment worth it. Because ideas only matter when they move people. And people only grow when they choose to act. So my wish for you is simple. Don't just walk away inspired. Walk away prepared. Don't just say, that was interesting. Say, what can I do now? That is how change truly begins. And if this message resonated with you, share it with someone you care about. Because the world doesn't change with one person alone. It changes when ideas spread, when people lift each other, when courage multiplies. Thank you again for being here. The future is moving fast, and I hope we can continue this journey together. Until then, stay curious, stay hungry, and remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
Scattamo stanotti, viri come balla, sutta e fanali chi si scidica. Ballamo stanotti, salta come un'anna, chi pettini di luna in sciolla. Gira musica, gira e non si ferma, come una galla do vento aità. Attira con narina, tamburello e abbacia come sua figliola. Scattamo stanotti, viri come balla, sutta e fanali chi si scidica. Ballamo stanotti, salta come un'anna, chi pettini di luna in sciolla. Sinni e Tunu, i voti si danno, tu na poco gli peputia. Sindaff e Tunu, i cappotti russi e si ricordano da notti buona. Scattamo stanotti, vini come balla, sutta e fanali chi si scidica. Ballamo stanotti, salta come un'anna, chi pettini di luna in sciolla.